Matthew 24, therefore, speaks of what? Does it speak of the end of the cosmos, the end of the oikoumene, or the end of the Sinai Old Covenant age? Point number 5, Matthew 24 speaks of the end of the Sinai or Old Covenant age, not the end of the global cosmos. And every sign that Jesus gave in that chapter is pointing to the destruction of the temple, because that was the question he was asked. Let us read it. Matthew 24 verse 3, the end of that age, or the consummation of that eon. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24 and read it now. Okay, we are asking the question, what age was Jesus talking about in Matthew 20? What world was Jesus talking about in Matthew 24 verse 3? So let's start from verse 1. We are looking at how the world ended 2,000 years ago. So let's go. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple. So Matthew 24 comes right after Matthew 23, by the way. And understand that the chapter breaks do not mean that's the end of the narrative. The chapter breaks are just put in there for ease of finding our way through the scriptures, so that if I say Matthew 24 verse 1, you instantly can get there. If there were no chapters and if there were no verses, I would have to say, well, you need to go close to the end of the book of Matthew, after the part where he was talking about Jerusalem being surrounded, and you understand how difficult that would be. Okay, so he is immediately after he said to the Jews, to the Pharisees, your house has been left unto you desolate. We have Matthew 24 verse 1 beginning, and Jesus went out. Went out from where? From the temple, where he was just telling them your house was left unto you desolate in chapter 23. And departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the what? The buildings of the temple. You have to read in context. What is the subject of what the conversation is about? And Jesus said unto him, see ye not all these things? What is he talking about? What are all these things? All these things are the buildings of the temple. Verily I say unto you, say unto who? His disciples who came to him privately, right? Okay, so see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, my 12 disciples, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Okay, so he's talking about the destruction, the desolation of the temple. He's talking about Daniel chapter 9 verse 27. Okay, and as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? What are these things? When will the temple buildings be thrown down? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Now tell me, based on everything that we have spoken about so far, based upon everything that you have learned so far, can you tell me which Greek word has been translated here as world? Is it the oikoumene? Is it the cosmos? Or is it the eon? Did Jesus say, were the disciples asking Jesus, Jesus, tell us, what will be the sign of the end of the Roman Empire? Or were they asking, Jesus, tell us, what will be the sign of the end of the global world, the whole world? Or, Jesus, what will be the sign of the end of the Sinai covenant age, of the covenant of Moses age? Or the Mosaic covenant age? Which do you think they were asking? Let's go. Let me put the word. Let me go to the Bible. All right. The end of the world, and the word world there in the Greek, let's go to the lexicon, is eon, an age. They were asking about the end of the age. As a matter of fact, I have a Berean literal Bible, so I'm going to show you this verse, how the Berean literal Bible has it. Tell us when these things will be, meaning when will the temple buildings be destroyed, and what is the sign of your coming and the consummation of the age. Aha! Now, they are asking about Daniel 9:26 and 27. Remember, Daniel 9:26 and 27 talks about the consummation, right? It talks about the consummation. So what they are asking Jesus, when will the consummation of the age of Moses be? Because they knew that at the end of the consummation of the age of Moses, that is when the temple would be destroyed, because that means God has completed or has consummated his Sinai covenant promises. And so Matthew 24 verse 3 is not asking or not speaking of the end of the global world or the end of time. It is talking about the end of the Sinai covenant age, also known as the Mosaic age or the age of Moses. At that time, the city of the Sinai covenant was destroyed. That's Jerusalem. At that time, the temple of the Sinai covenant was destroyed. And as well, the unbelieving people of the Sinai covenant, the Israelites, who did not receive, who rejected their Messiah and killed his apostles and prophets, they were destroyed. And after that Sinai covenant ended, a new covenant age began. And that new covenant age was based on the covenant of the Spirit.